Questions for Coach Arroyo?
Coach Munkin said they start Mullins on Saturday. Maybe as many 6 true freshmen playing. Have you been around a situation like that with that many freshmen on the field?
Since I was a freshman in high school, yeah, that's just not very common. You're just not used to seeing that many freshmen on the field. It's great. It's hard, but it's great. It's exciting to see those guys learning and coaching them hard. And they're all making strides, and George was a good example, and Nick's another good example of doing some things right and hard to deny.
What does Mullins change for the offense when he's on the field? Is it just how would you say that anything change? Does anything change?
Well, I think when you go back to why we recruited Nick's been in a similar form of this system in high school. So he's got some wherewithal as far as what it looks like conceptually at times. Not that we're the same exact thing, whether that's Oklahoma State or it's his high school, but he's got a little feel for the system that helps. And then his ability to make some plays with his feet, like you saw, I think moving around and making some plays with his feet. That's obviously a really good component when it comes to having a quarterback with escapability and moving around a little bit, hard on defense.
Ricard, Marquise, it seems like he's got a little bit more balls thrown his way Saturday. Is he somebody that's made progress from week to week?
He has made progress from week to week. Again, another, like we've said every week, another promising true freshman that's making strides, who has some intangibles that athletically that are going to be really special. And he's doing things every week to build on that. I think the scheme fit last week. There was a few scheme things in there where it just so happened he's going to be in the right place at the right time. We don't move our guys very much schematically. They're playing sides. That's part of the system. But he happened to be a guy at that side who had some calls go that they were coming his way. Made some good plays.
Another thing Nick showed, and I'm just asking if you agree with this, was that sort of that internal clock that quarterbacks, they say that quarterbacks need to have. I mean, he seemed to have sort of that sixth sense to be able to, he stayed in the pocket for a while, went through his progression, showed some good pocket presence, and then when he got sacked a time or two, but
Sure.
But he seems to sort of have that sixth sense that quarterbacks need. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that any quarterback who can feel the pocket and move around, go through his progression like Nick did and showed as a true freshman is definitely valuable. He did. He's got a good visual. He's got a good good feel to things that we believe he's got. He showed, and he's shown those for a while. Now we're going to put him in position to continue to grow.
What happened on the interception that he threw? Did you guys break that down?
Of course. Loaded question, right? It was like, no, we didn't check it out. What happened?
Could you break it down for us today?
Yeah. To what extent? Obviously, it was a misread on that coverage in 3-by-1. The backside free safety poaches field 3 vertical. He's got to see that pre-snap. He knows exactly what happens in that coverage. He got excited, threw down the middle of the field, and the backside and 11, who's got really good safety, the senior quarterback, saw 3 go vertical, did his job. We threw right to him, but Nick knows that he made a mistake there. It was not even that we didn't flinch as far as, and that's just the way we are. That's the way we coach it. We're not berating guys when they're making mistakes at the how youthful our group is. You've got to be able to coach through it. What'd you see? Why'd you do it? And he knew right away. That ball goes outside. That progression starts outside when that safety does that. It's either going outside and Marquise is sitting out in the flat at 10 yards where he should be, and the ball should be there. But that's going to happen. We've all done it. True freshman who's played. I mean, the difference was, as a true freshman, he threw a pick and made the tackle.
Right.
I threw a true freshman pick in my first start and went 90 the other way.
So that happened, and yet he came back and threw.
Oh yeah,
2
absolutely.
touchdowns.
Get back in there, absolutely. That's not even. We didn't even flinch. Did not even flinch. That's hey, you know what happened. Let's go back. One play and done. That's how we try to get these guys to understand. That play is done. It's moving on to the next play. So it's great. It's a good way to bounce back. It was really good to see.
How much do y'all talk about, just how encouraged y'all are with this freshman group as a whole, whether it's defense, offense, that, once they're on the field, maybe they're making mistakes, but they're also making something happen. What do y'all think about this group of freshmen as a whole?
Well, I think you asked if we dialogue the freshmen and kind of what they're doing. It's hard not to. They're all playing. Every time we call out a name, or every time we call out a critical aspect, there's a good chance it's either a guy who wasn't here in spring, wasn't here in fall, and potentially just got here in fall camp, and then you move on to the other percentage of guys who are true freshmen. So we talk about those guys at length, and they show a lot of promise. We talk about them at length. We tell them in person. We have a lot of one-on-one meetings with those guys and what they do, and we tell them we're going to coach them hard. We're going to be critical. We're going to be critical because in the long haul, this is going to pay huge dividends. You're going to have so many reps, and making mistakes like that's a perfect example. Nick's read on that. Shoot, he knows right away. And usually at that position, those guys know right away. And that's the good part when you got the right guy. When you got the right guys back there, is they know. You don't have to. There's not a whole lot of excuses. There's not a whole lot of this and that. You move on, and that's great. And I think a lot of the guys who are playing are that. They're guys who aren't making excuses. They're not interested in that. We haven't allowed them to, and we won't. But we're not coaching them so much where they're feeling defensive either. We're not put in that position. I think we're ultra excited about those guys, and it's just taking time, and that is the hard part. This is a very fickle situation as far as football goes, because nowadays it just is. It's just scrutinized, but we're not flinching, and those guys are doing a great job, and we're excited as all get out about it.
You feel like the more you put guys out there like Nick, like George, Marquise, James, that there seems to be a more of a sense of like looseness to them, that they're having more fun, that they're actually they just seem to be out there playing and not thinking.
Right.
Is that kind of a sense that you're getting?
Yeah, and I think they're not. The other end of that is like you get a whole bunch of seniors, which they'll be, and then they're really not thinking. Then they're just playing. It's second nature. That's when it gets really fun. Right now they're not thinking because it's still fast. It's still like there's a lot of stuff that they don't really know. So it's just the kind of naive part of just going out there and doing it. And that's the great part too. That's why true freshmen that's why freshmen are a lot of times wow people, because they're out there just doing it loose. They feel confident. They're out there rolling. That's what you want to establish. That's what you want to go in your culture of kids, and what we want. And they are. When they're out there together, it's great because, again, they're all looking at each other too. Like, hey, we're out here. We just got here too, And so, we're all hearing the same message. Let's make these mistakes and make no excuses and not make them again. Let's make these. Let's go back out there. Next play. So that mantra, those things, those attitudes and actions, which I talk about a lot, are exactly what you want your group to establish, and it'll carry over more and more and more each time they get a chance to play together, and they're going to be playing together for a long time. That's really promising. I don't know how many other universities are playing with this many true freshmen on the field, or at one point in the near future you look at the teams that have this many seniors who played that long, and usually in the back end. It's really exciting. So it's great to see those guys out there getting after it.
What have you seen out of North Texas's defense that you feel like they do well, extremely well? I looked it up there, 37th against the run in the nation, 28th in points allowed. They're only allowed 21.
Right in the middle of the conference, and right there up in the top third of the country, and they do a good job. They're another 6 out, I think, of their 6 of 11 starters, I think, are seniors. A few juniors back those guys up. Not a lot of true freshmen on the roster. Some redshirt sophomores on there that are playing. They play hard. They have a really, really solid scheme. 4-down team. Up front, thick. Play hard. Play real hard. Their coaches do a good job. Those guys are playing hard from snap to whistle. They don't do a lot. They keep it simple. And they've got guys with a lot of reps to be able to manage it and make the adjustments. So we've got another game where we got our hands full, but another opportunity to go out there and get after it.